Take your time. You can pop in later.
No,
You
no
did say
problem.
25
I
minutes,
was
so
not
it
sure.
should
Yeah,
be
I
at
was not sure
4:25.
what time it was.
We're going live.
Oh, okay. Hey, tell me, what do you want me to cover?
Nothing, just follow the lead.
Okay, fine, no problem.
Oh my God.
All right, let's see. Are we live? Are we live? Who's in control here? Who's in control? I was told I'm not very organized when it comes to that.
Ah!
Okay, so let's go. Ragu. Okay, they can see us. We're live. We are live. Woo! I can
All
see us
right.
over there. Hi everyone. This is just for the gangs. We did not invite anybody from outside the gang. So if you're here, you got a special invitation because you're already with us. So wow, I know you're busy, you're trading, but today we kind of were whipsawed. So if somebody was not watching the charts, it was imperative that they know options. And today was very challenging from that perspective. And that's the focus of the day. Give me an okay on audio, someone. Make sure that you're listening fine. And the goals are simple today. One, we have a lot of new people. So we need to make sure that everybody's on the same baseline. So we're going to explain options in plain, simple terms. And two, we're going to take a step forward and explain spreads in options, not just the regular call and regular put. Today, I had a 20-minute conversation with at least two people that have the same basic question on options. So because we have new people, I know you know options inside and out. Stick around. You might learn something new. And be patient. The reason why Arlenis is here is because she has a cool story about some tools that she acquired from us. And you will have the opportunity to acquire the same tools. So you want to stick around, don't leave before she has her bit. And the message is very simple. Tools work if you apply them correctly. Ragu is here because just he's a ninja. And we like to have ninjas on our side. Ninjas are always good on our side.
I'm a
He's a
jet
little bit
lag
more
ninja right
disciplined
now.
than me. He does a lot more homework than me because that's what he needs for his trading. So listen to what he says. He's an educated guy on the
Nick, I
market.
don't know whether you heard this. I'm a jet lag ninja right now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he just came back from India. Um, I learned that I'm being scammed from a city in India by Facebook this week. My gosh, what a revelation that was. They have, anyway. So hopefully you had a great trip. I saw you posted some pictures, they were amazing. So let's talk options. And the idea of how do we trade options and why do we trade options and all of that. So traditionally, everybody uses stocks. If in the olden days you bought shares, and then it brought up two problems. One is I might not have enough money to commit to the shares, or I do have the shares, I bought them, and I'm worried about protecting them. And that's where options are mainly used. How can I get into the stock cheaply? And that would be buying calls. How can I protect my stock once I have it? That would be buying puts. So let me share my screen and we can talk to that. And share screen, window, this guy, share. Hopefully you should see an options chain in a minute. Add to the stage. There we go. Let's make it bigger than all of us and all disappear. So I will zoom in so you can see numbers, but first I want to see the big picture. Really quickly, you have calls and puts. Calls are on the left side, puts are on the right side. The big picture is if I want protection for my stock, I just buy a put and I would go in. This is NVIDIA. This is for this week. If I wanted to protect my NVIDIA today, I could have just bought this. I could have just bought this put. I send it $325. So that's the magic. Nobody thinks about the other side of the trade. That would be Ragu or me. We sell the stuff, but not here. We sell it with intelligence. So let's say you bought it here. somebody wants your shares this week, they'll say, okay, I'll take your money. They would be the sellers. So you buy the put for protection. They sell the put because they want your shares. And at the end of the week, we'll sell it up. Maybe it's below there, and the buyer of the put will exercise their right and give you their shares. That's what it means. It's give or take. It's a very simple concept, and people overlook it. So what it means to buy a put, it means that somebody else wants those shares and they sell that put. Sometimes we trade the options. So for that, you need intelligence, and you need to understand options and levels. What level makes sense? This information is super important this week about this stock in particular. Okay, we had a lot of conversations about it today. So I'll use a specific example from today. Somebody in the live room today came forward and said, I sold a 115 put in NVIDIA. I believe it was for, let's go with September. So I have to go to September. Okay, so they sold, where is it? Oh my gosh, a lot. Okay, so they sold this put. And so price fell against them, and now price is below. So they're committed to buying those shares. They can be assigned at any point in time. But the math was very simple. If they got assigned today, they would lose $3 per share. I don't want you to get bogged down with the math because we can spend 30 minutes just on that. I want you to get the concept. So when you sell a put, be responsible with the level you sell it at, and never sell a naked put unless you intend on owning shares, because your back will be against the wall, will force you to do some things to lose money when you didn't need to. So this person is not in huge trouble. Keep a calm head. Don't act on fiery circumstances. If he had acted and bought back his put, he would have lost $600-700 per contract, where in reality, the worst case scenario at this moment is $300. So with intelligence, be calm, use your resources, come into the live room. More resources to come. So that's the put side. Okay, that's why puts exist. Somebody wants peace of mind. Somebody wants the thing that they own. So once one person protects shares, the other person wants the shares. Buy and sell. Think about it that way. You're not buying puts off the shelf. Okay, so that is a very important point. It was very clear today. I can't believe that this drop happened today, because it makes the points I wanted to make real life. This is a real life example from today. All right. Now on the call side, how do we use the call side? Let's say I love this dip and I want to buy shares and I don't want to sell puts. I can go out and buy a call out in time for September. Instead of spending $100 per share or $104 per share times 100 shares, I can just buy one of those things and spend $1,000, and I'm locked in at this price. That's what it means to buy a call. So who would sell me this call? Somebody that owns shares that wants $10 worth of protection. They sell a covered call. They would be the seller of the call. Their responsibility now is, once they take the money, to give me shares at that price if I want them. Okay, so that's the give and take, the other side of the trade. So I sell calls, I sell puts, but not here. I choose levels that work for me. Okay, all right, that's also was part of the conversation. Okay, so how is that? How can we take this a step further? Let's say I never intend of buying shares, and I don't want to spend $1,000 to buy a call. This is where the call spread comes into. So using option spreads. The word spreads literally means I'm spreading my risk. So I buy something and I sell something to spread my risk. Okay, so I buy something and it's going to cost me $1,000. Okay, but at the same time, I want to sell something to lower my entry price. And I can choose whatever level I want. In this case, I'm going to fictitiously choose 110. So now I spend $1,000, I collect almost $800. So now I'm only spending $200. If I'm spending $200, I still have the opportunity to profit, limited, albeit, but it's an opportunity to profit. That is a spread, vertical spread, vertical up and down. So is this, so is that. Any two legs that are on the same order or in the same, not necessarily at the same time, in the same time frame for the same person in the same account is a spread. They have a position and they have an opposite position. It could be a debit spread, it could be a credit spread. Most people buy debit spreads. I like to sell credit spreads at levels that work for me. So if I'm expecting a rally, I would buy a call or lower my entry price and buy a call spread instead. Buy this, sell that. They're both bullish. They both will win on the way up. One wins more because it costs more. That's it. Same concept. People say, I don't know spreads. Well, you just learned the concept of a spread. So, how can we use this information? You can use spreads to generate income. What's going on here? And by selling them, like I do, credit spreads. And of course, this would lock up because that's the kind of day I'm having here, technically. Um, Once this wakes up, I'll show you something else. Spreads can be other than vertical. You can play around with time. So if I buy a call out in time like this one in September, there we go. Whew. Okay. So a spread can be like this. This is the same contract, 52 days. I can buy this call and I can sell a call above it like we just said, but I can also sell it for this week if I wanted to. And here's the visual to that. So I buy the call out 52 days and I sell a call for now. This is 3 days, this Friday. That's also a spread, but it's different times. Those are the complicated one, more complicated ones, the call calendars and the put calendars and the call diagonals and the put diagonals. All right? Hopefully you're taking notes. This is an impromptu session to level the baseline. One, introduce options the right way. Don't buy options willy-nilly. And two, introduce spreads and not go into great detail because that's what I do all day for you. And three, we need to share some real life scenarios. And this is where Arlenis and I were talking. We had an event the other day, and we were in a class, and she shared visually to me. Like she's mentioned it before, but that's the first time I looked at it. A tool that she acquired from Ragu, and I couldn't believe how simple it was. So I was hoping she could pop in and say a few things about it, if you're ready. Okay. And she can, hopefully you can relate. The reason why I ask is because in August, on the 23rd and 24th, we're having such event where you can acquire these tools. And, you know, the monetary value is pretty impressive, but the value they provide is, I mean, how can you put a number on a skill and a tool that you can acquire, multiple of them, that you can repeatedly use over and over, that would yield profits, opportunities to profit for a very long time. So the floor is yours. If you want to share a screen, we can. If not, maybe I can find something to share while you're talking.
No, I can share my screen. I have multiple screens, so just let me.
Okay, so to do that, you hit the present button down in the middle, and you pick a window or a screen.
Okay. See if you can see it.
Yes, perfect. That's what you were showing me the other day. It's exactly what I was looking. And I was floored. I mean, you guys look at my screens and they're so complicated because we draw lines. Look at the simplicity of this one.
So during that event, because Ragu shares a couple of studies throughout the futures event, but it's like you said, like we never kind of like sit and analyzed that during that specific event. I just sat there and kind of played with this tool, which I'm still playing with it for after hours, since we work with ticks as opposed to the time frame. So last night I was playing with it, but I still haven't gotten a grasp. During market hours, though, I think Raghu shares this with the 3 and 5, right, Raghu?
Yes, that's correct.
So I use it with 1 and 5 for fast trades. What I wait is to see this reversal right here. And then on the bottom one, I wait to get a sell signal. So on that day specifically, I think I grew that account at 200%. Just following that, I didn't wait completely. I was taking 20% of every trade. So let's say I got in, I put a out order of 20%. I would wait for the next signal, put an out order of 20%. And I did that about 5 times to where I think I made like $800 on a $200 account. So that account went from $200 to was it $1,200 to $1,200. So I think I had made $200 previously. So I made on that day $800 just playing tag with this study that Raghu shares, which is just waiting. I learned my own way of how to use it. He teaches it a little bit different, but I lowered the time frame to 1 here and kept the bottom one on 5. And then I would look for orders when I saw the reversal signal come up, but I would not take the trade until the 5 minute one would show a sell or a buy signal. Because if you do smaller time frames on the bottom one, sometimes the buy or the sell signal kind of disappears, and they're not solid. So I would wait until the sell signal comes up and give it a couple of seconds to make sure it's staying, and then I would take the trade. I would write it 20%, and now I'm out of the trade. So that's the strategy I've used. Even when I'm not following this, I used to trade off my phone. Remember that I'm like the queen of trading on my phone, but now I don't trade unless I have this up, because it gives me the confidence, even if I have an analysis myself, to be able to determine if what I'm thinking is coinciding with what Raghu's study is saying. So sometimes I'm like, okay, so let me hold back on it. So let me give it a couple of more minutes. So let me wait if kind of Raghu's signals kind of matches with what I'm thinking. And is avoided not so much of how much money I make, but it's avoided of the amount of money I used to lose, just because I had a conviction on something. Sometimes we set our minds, okay, the market is going on this direction, it's going here, it's going here, it's going here, and there's nobody that can take us out of that mindset. But if we have something that can clearly tell us, well, what you're thinking is wrong, kind of take a step back, then it's been a huge help as far as like me, like my account. I haven't seen my account red like in a really long time, just because like I've been just using this as a guideline if I don't use it for fast trades, because I don't have the time sometimes
So
for super
you're
fast
basically actively trading versus buying a call, buying a put, working, and then waking up to a loss or a win,
trades. Right,
because you're actively trading.
right,
So if somebody's looking to make income every day, they pop in, they trade, they pop out, they don't leave any risk open.
right. And these
Cool.
work, he uses this in different time frames. I think that he said that the higher the time frames, the more accurate it is, because it gathers a lot more information. I personally have only used it for fast trades, but depend on each individual person's style, they might be able to tailor it to their needs. I right now I'm kind of playing with it to play with ticks to use it after hours. So after the market closed, because the market kind of slows down a little bit, and this doesn't necessarily work as well when the market is closed. So I've turned it. I'm testing it on 130 ticks, on 133 ticks, and 512 on the bottom to see how that works. But I haven't gotten the grass. That's something that I just started yesterday. So in the next couple of days, I'll be testing that to see how that works for
So
me.
you've used this on the SPX or just the ES?
The ES.
Okay.
So
We
after I learned futures,
uh-huh.
that's another one. Um, I don't trade the XPX anymore, and I
So
don't
this
trade
is
the
where
SPY.
I can ask Ragu something. I I know how important it is for people to
Mhm.
learn how to use the futures. Ragu, in your experience, and you're a very experienced trader, how important is it for all investors to understand the futures and have the ability and the knowledge to jump in and trade even on a whim after hours because of reason A or reason B?
Today is a classic day, Nick. Microsoft announced, and if you notice, Microsoft dropped below 400 for a brief time. I think it is right now, even now, it is right at 397. Now, if you cannot trade Microsoft options after hours, okay?
Correct.
And if you need some level of protection, now here is the big thing, right? Microsoft moves a lot between now and in another 30 minutes when the conference call takes place. And you, the only way you can actually manage that if you really want to trade based on Microsoft price action, either you need to buy a lot of Microsoft stock after hours, which you can do, or futures. Because Microsoft is actually a representative to a certain extent on futures, and futures dropped with the Microsoft drop. So if you can trade futures, you can actually continue to trade after hours and benefit from any kind of price swings that Microsoft is going to have. As long as you know what you're trying to do, you can actually protect yourself. You can go short on futures if you really think that Microsoft is further going to drop. Or if you think that this is the bottom, you can go long futures and Microsoft springs back up. Futures is going to go up again
So,
and you can make
so
money on that.
so here's the perfect example. The upper left-hand corner I just shared. You don't have to read the numbers. Where my arrow is, right there, that is the flash low on the Microsoft low of 389. So if you popped in and bought a contract, you would make $50 a point. And that was 5433 to 5453, 20
Mhm.
times 50 per point, $20, 20 points times 50 per contract. So if you had losses on the calls or shares tomorrow, you would have offset some of them just by buying the dip there. Funny you should say that because I had a person jump in at the bell or just after the bell. After the bell, can you lock puts? And because he had bought puts in, so I'm pretty sure you can find a way to mitigate or kind of lock in your puts by doing something after hours. So this is a perfect example for somebody that can jump in and manage risk. I use it with a more dramatic way by saying, what if something bad happens? Like today, Beirut was bombed. Okay, what if it wasn't Beirut? What if it was a more important city than
Mhm.
Beirut? I am from Beirut, so don't be sending me hate mail. Like a bigger, more a weirder place to get bombed. Beirut gets bombed often, so then the markets will be hundreds of points lower. What are you able to do? You can jump in and manage your risk. What if they discovered world peace and then the market is spiking 1,000 points and you're short? You can go in and mitigate your risk. So the point of this conversation is to invite friends to vouch for tools. You need to invest in your mind. You need to invest in your toolkit. You can't use this. You can't become a craftsman in this without investing in your mind and in your toolkit and then practice. We practice all day. You know it. You're with us. You need to have a good tool bag like we do. Many people in this room have done this event. Some of them are coming back. They said, I need a refresher. And they don't even need the tools. But it's a good thing to have tools and use them. I add tools. This year, I added 2 tools to my tool bag, and you see one of them every day played out. I'm trying to make my own tools. You saw me today practicing with my pluses and X's. And that I'm investing time. I spent about 5 hours last night. I didn't go to bed until late doing that. So it is, it's a commitment. You have an opportunity to do something for yourself. It's not too late to pop into the Vegas event. It is August 23rd and 4th. We made it Vegas because it's a place. Actually, we don't like to make Vegas because it's expensive to put and it's hard to coordinate because it's a super busy place and the industry is tough there. But it's a popular place and it's somewhat central. A lot of people want to come, even from overseas. Everybody asked for Vegas. So we got to Vegas. So you don't have a lot of excuses. And I'm going to come hunt you down if you don't sign up. No, that's kidding, of course. But if you wanted to sign up, go to simplestocks.com and you there's a tab for events and it's the top event. The other ones are done for. They're past. You missed them. So simplestocks.com/events. And actually, I should put a link. And we have, Arlenis, are we limited on space? We usually are. I'm not familiar with the location that you picked.
So yes, 30 is the max that I can accept for this one.
Okay. Here's another statement. The cost, you should think about the cost from the sense time. Can I get myself out there? I think you can learn stuff online, but there are distractions. If you can rip away from your daily life for 2 days, one of them is a weekend day, you can you're captivated. You can learn better, and the monetary piece. First of all, it's justified, and then some, by the tools you're going to get if you need that justification. But it's it's more of an investment in growing the mind. Like nobody argues with spending money on school if they wanted to do a job that requires that school. But for some reason, and nobody hesitates of putting in $2,000 in the trade or $3,000 in the trade, and then they put another one. Maybe it wins, maybe it loses. But for some reason, some people need to get over the mindset of, hey, this is the same thing, except this time I'm investing in my brains and I'm acquiring tools and knowledge and connections and resources that are going to help me proceed forward in a better way for a lifetime. So you're here, you're listening because you clearly see an opportunity of improvement. You see problems because there are symptoms. And then, so we know we want to get better. We kind of have the same goals. We all do. And if you don't sign up, it doesn't hurt us as much as I think it impacts you. But luckily, we do provide with, once a month. But these events are not once a month. These futures events, they're special. And I know some people are saying, oh, maybe I can't catch up. Let's have a conversation if you think you can't catch up. And we will ascertain whether you are up to the task or not. I had one today with one person. And we decided that he's okay to go. So hopefully he'll sign up today. I haven't looked. So if you're iffy and you have questions, follow up. You know where to reach us. We're there all day, every day. But get over the mental lock. That's like, oh, I can't do this. I'm too busy. Make time. Make time. Force yourself. It's fun. It's freaking Vegas. We'll hang out. We'll have drinks. If you don't drink, we'll have water. And it's a lot of fun. So that's my spiel. Raghu is the guy that delivers the content. And I got to tell you, if Raghu tells me do this or do that, I don't have to double check it. I do this and I do that. The only reason that I don't do it because I have something similar already on my books. So I totally trust his judgment, and because he does a lot of homework. And you're going to get, give us a quick rundown of the big picture. Like, how do you approach it? Are you a top-down? I think you told me one time you're a top-down analyst type of a deal. So if you want to give us a little bit, Raghu, that'd be awesome.
Sure. For those of you who are actually already seeing what I post in the Discord, right? I do a lot of, I consume a lot of insights and research based on the big picture, which is primarily what is the impact of the economy? How does that impact where we invest? Which sectors are the ones that are impacted? Interest rates, how are they going to impact your investment decisions and things like that. And then it comes down to distilling down to which sectors that you want to really allocate to your portfolio, how do you diversify, and specifically, which stocks are the ones that will benefit the most from where you are putting your money in. So I do post a lot on a regular basis. In fact, on a daily basis, I actually post a summary in the morning. So, if not anything else, if you're really looking at doing day trading or just getting an idea about where the markets are, you can actually get started with that. And I primarily use futures for hedging purposes. I do not really trade as much using futures, primarily because for trading, I find better instruments in the form of indexes and options. But risk management is a big part of my, how my philosophy is. And for those of you who already have heard me, for me, more than making money, it is protecting your capital and managing risk that is the most critical one. And the best way to manage risk with the least amount of money is using futures.
I've
Okay.
seen I've seen you
Yeah.
put hedge trades that actually are credit, and that's pretty amazing. So if you think that the J.P. Morgan, whatever they call it, collar
Mhm.
trade is smart, you should see the wizardry that we come up with in order to use what he's sharing. Some of it looks complicated, but if somebody tells you this is step one, two, and three, and you repeat the same things over and over at a certain period of time, what day of the week you do it, and all of that, it's somewhat easy to follow through. You just need basic knowledge. I talked about spreads and levels. How are these tools related to them? How can you use these tools? So, what I said today are the building blocks of everything in options, including what you will learn in Vegas. Today, I merely defined and introduced how one would use puts and calls to get into stock, protect stock, or trade. And then I introduced the idea of spreads. Well, he takes that to another level. So if you understand the building blocks, and there's plenty of time to catch up on the building blocks and build a solid base, and then what you learn in a futures class is takes that to another level. You
Yeah. One more
can
thing.
trade the futures,
Yeah.
and
One
you
more thing,
can
Nick,
trade options
actually.
on the futures. Sorry, Raghu, go ahead.
Yeah. What I also wanted to tell you is that, the Vegas event is on a Friday and a Saturday. So, Friday, we will actually have the opportunity to actually trade live and show how we can actually manage your portfolio using futures and reinforce the concepts and various strategies that you can use to actually build your portfolio on Saturday. So, from that standpoint, you are actually going to see certain things in action.
Yeah, so you will get a good taste of it. um, I don't think anybody that's serious about investing will be disappointed from a futures class that has this much. Maybe you don't like one aspect of it, or this one is not perfect for what you're looking for, but the overall experience is necessary. It's not like fun, it's necessary. It's one of those things where if I'm a serious investor, I need the ability to jump in and do some triage after hours. I need to be able to manage my wealth. The bigger the account that you have, the more important that thing becomes. Being able to act after hours. I know it sounds like inflammatory. I promise you, most of you that have started trading in the last 4 years or 5 years, you haven't seen a correction. Yes, you've seen a flash crash from the pandemic, but that was artificial, and then they erased it with artificial money, so it's not real, not the normal corrections. When the hits the fan, it's the floodgates, and then it's one-sided. There's no buy the dip mentality. It'll be who can get out of the movie theater the quickest. So you need resources. So it's like, do you practice fixing something before it breaks? Yes. So you practice when things are awesome. Things are awesome. So this is when you practice. All right, we've taken enough time. We promised 45 minutes. We're up at 49 minutes. Anything you would like to add, Arlenis, before we say goodbye to these folks?
So a lot of people say I can't trade futures because I don't have a big account. So there's benefits to trading a futures account, which there's no PDT rules. So if you don't have a big account, this is the type of account you want to be trading. because with the XPX, every time you're in and out, you get ding if you exit a trade on the same day.
Good
The
point.
good thing about trading futures is that you're able to trade on a daily basis multiple times throughout the day without having to worry about the PDT rules and getting your account flagged for not having the $25,000 on the account. So a lot of those messages are the ones that I get. Oh, I don't have enough money. I don't know why people are under their perception that in order for them to trade futures, they need to have large accounts. There's tickers like the ES, the slash ES, and the MES, which is actually a quarter of a portion of what you paid for XPX, which if you have a small account, those are the tickers that you want to be trading. If that mimic the SPY in the event that you don't have a large account. So I guess there's a lot of misinformation or a lot of information that people don't know. There's also an additional tax benefits for trading futures as opposed to trading the regular open hour markets. So I would educate myself on those things and understand the importance. Now it's hard for me to go and trade the XPX when I know that ES is an option and that I'm able to even get out of a trade after 4 p.m. or 8 p.m. or wherever I'm sitting in my couch and I'm, not as stressed or the day is not going as fast and I'm able to think more critically. So for those of you who work and have a busy lifestyle and can't be in the live room 24/7, if you haven't looked into futures, this is the time to do so.
Excellent point. One thing I forgot to mention today, I promised in the live room that I will share a new tool I'm working on. I will make it available. It's on TradingView, this one. The pluses and X's. I was bombarded with direct messages on what are these things. And today they played out very, very well. Sorry about the wide window. X's and pluses, I will make it available as is if I can't refine it, but if I can refine it more, I will also make it available. So no excuses. The monetary expense is not the hiccup, it's the commitment. If you're really serious about moving forward, I would definitely consider taking the plunge into something comparable, if not this one. Yeah, so PDT rule, great point, Lenis. Raghu, I appreciate your time. I know you're busy and you're probably wanting to trade Microsoft right now.
No, I need to jump on the call. Call is in another 2 minutes, I think.
Peace out. You're dismissed, sir. I'll see you
Thank
later.
you.
Folks, I appreciate your time. Thank you for taking the time to be here. Lenis, as usual, thank you so much for coordinating everything that there is to be done with Simple Stocks and the Discord and all of that. Pretty good team. Thanks, support. Later, we're going to rudely hang up in 5, 4, 3, 2.